Alright, back to the John Deere 285. This little heater that I had in there, it was, a 12 volt heater. That's in my original video. I kind of took it out. Didn't do much good. So, it don't go in there no more. Alright, so I'm going to show you how I designed my cab to get the hood open. Without having to remove the cab. And take all these wing nuts out here. Like so. Get all these wing nuts out. I could probably bend a little bit shorter. What it is it's just a wing nut, and it's got a metal body washer with a rubber gasket inside. It's called a fender washer. Get all these wing nuts out here, and then you can just take this piece of epoxy, move that right out of the way here. Now I could just open up the hood now. This bar down here is high enough that it would clear. I'll show you how the hood opens up here. You just basically going to lift, and it clears the box. But if I really need to do some extensive things down here, we have some clips. We pull those, go over here, and we want to pull this one too. Okay. Now there's a thing here that you got to push over. Okay, so we got the latches pulled out here now. See them? And now we can take the hood off. Alright, so now we can get the hood off. Make sure you disconnect the headlight wires. And we can pull the hood off. Alright, so now that the hood's off, I have access to all around the motor, which is a good thing, because when you want to service the engine and stuff, you want access to the motor. As you can see down here, get rid of this snow. This is where the fender for the footrest stops here, and I got this piece of underlayment underneath here. The reason why I went past the foot pedals is because you see this right here. That is the brake, and it actually wraps up and around the foot pad. It doesn't go through the foot pad, so I actually had to extend to clear that, and that's how I did it, because I could have just stopped my frame right here, and I could have just went straight up like so, but I had to figure out a way to get around that foot pedal. I'll show you down in this foot wheel what I mean about this. See that foot pedal, how it goes over the foot pad here? That's the reason why I had to extend out as far as I did, to give me clearance on that foot pedal. And See, in this, I did the same thing inside this wheel well. I could have just stopped it right here, you know, right where that bar is. I could have stopped it right there and I could have went up. But then I would have had to figure out a way to get around that foot pad. Now, these boxes right here, what I should have did is I should have made those separate and made them so they're bolt-on, kind of like the Pexi window, where you would be able to take those boxes off, because a couple of the problems that I have with this homemade cab is that there's my radiator coolant right there, and then there's my oil dipstick, and my oil filter is all like basically behind these boxes, and my oil drain plug is also behind the box. You know, and I don't know what kind of problem that's going to cause in the future. The other problem is if I ever have a problem with my starter, I don't know how I would get it out of there. Because, like I said, that's behind the box too. So, and my fuel filter, it's behind these boxes too. Auger, turner. We'll just pull this clip right here. Get this hood out of the way here real quick. So we got that clip moved there, and basically if we needed to remove the cab for any reason, we would just basically slide this out of there and go up into the cab here, and we could remove it just like so. So as you see, the chute handle is removed now. I made a couple differences with the cab. That gap that I had between the door and the first original video, well, basically I didn't like it, so what I did is I put this flat stock in here, and I welded it in place, and I put this this gasket stuff on there. I also got new hinges. On these hinges, I didn't make them sit flush with the paneling. I allowed them to stick out farther, because now, as you see, my door doesn't get pinched, and it'll actually open up all the way. And the other problem that I had was when I removed the door pins, it was actually going in between the two pieces of wood. It would scratch it all up. So now that they're farther out, I can remove these pins and get the door off without no problems. So with this styrofoam gasket on here, basically running around the door here, now I don't have to worry about snow blowing through that crack, because the snow would actually blow through that crack. I didn't worry about any flat stock down here, because I got right here, I got, you know, that metal from the foot pad, and I got the metal from the fender, so I figured that would be good enough to seal it up. I'll just put some styrofoam gasket on here or something. In my first video, I had a electric car heater up here, and I put in this fan. It's a 12-volt fan. I put that in there for two reasons. One, to blow around the air, basically in the summertime, give me a cool breeze when I'm in the cab. And two, I got this little propane heater that I put in here, and I just got an L bracket with a couple of C-clamps holding it in place, and this thing creates enough heat. And basically what I didn't want happening is I didn't want the heat all going up towards the roof, sitting there, or possibly melting the Pexi. So I figured with the fan it would blow it around and keep it you know, mixed in here with the heat and stuff. So that's what I did. Those are the changes that I made. I put the door gasket in there, and I put the fan in, and I put the heater in. It does work, actually. When my windows get fogged up, I just take this fan. That's an oscillating fan, so it'll go back and forth on the windshield like so. And when it's oscillating back and forth and I have that heater running in here, it will actually defog the windows, because any little bit of moisture that you have in your gloves or on your boots, when you get in there and your body warmth starts heating up your gloves and your boots, that condensation will actually fog up the windows. So you if you're going to design a cab, I'd recommend that you don't use Pexi. Try to use glass. Get a glass cutter to cut it, and you can somehow figure out a way to put it in there and silicone it in place. And put in a door gap or something. Make sure your hinges stick out far enough. See, now my hinges stick out that far. Before they were flush with the paneling, and that was a problem. So now they stick out pretty far. If you're gonna do something like this, just think about things. How are you gonna access stuff? How you're gonna get to stuff, and how you're gonna heat it. Good suggestion. I found out that without a windshield wiper blade, the snow would actually get stuck to the front of the windshield. So if I were you, I'd recommend putting in one windshield wiper on the front. The back windows, it doesn't really get stuck to. The side windows, it doesn't get stuck to. So at least put one in the front, and maybe you can use some like brass bushings and some kind of handle to make it manually go back and forth when you need it. And if you put one of those in, make sure you do it with Lexan, because Lexan is scratch resistant and Pexi is not. So yeah, definitely make sure that you think about things like how am I going to get to this on my motor, how am I going to get to that on the motor. Another thing that happened is when I put this seal, the door jamb in here, it actually made my door tighter, and it doesn't actually vibrate around anymore and make noise. But one of the problems is that the gaps are off now because of the gasket in there. I mean, when you have a 3/4 inch stock sitting aligned with a piece of 3/4 inch square stock, and then you put a gasket behind it, and it's true, it's going to make your door stick out. So, I mean, when I build my new cab, probably what I'm going to do is I'm either going to go up to 1 inch stock and use a 1/2 inch stock or 3/4 inch stock on the doors, or even stay with the 3/4 inch stock for the framing and then go with 1/2 inch stock for the door. So that way I have like a 1/4 inch of space that I can put a gasket in between, and then the door will actually be able to stay, perfectly aligned. So that's about it. Thanks.